This week on Storyboard 18, a power-packed episode featuring a leading CMO and a global CEO. We begin with India's fast-expanding sleep economy and the brand shaping its future. Sleepwell CMO Puneet Gulati joins us to unpack the consumer insights driving their strategy, the evolution of the category, and the big marketing shifts to watch for in 2026. Hello and welcome to the studio, Puneet. It's a pleasure to have you here with me today.
Thanks, Dilsha. Pleasure is all mine.
How the consumer is changing, but more importantly, how are those signals and those shifts informing your marketing strategies today? So let's get into this with a few examples. Talk to me about some of the top marketing campaigns that you've had in the past year or so, and how has that shifted the needle for the brands?
The fact that it is getting its due importance in the recent times is something that really is exciting for us as a category. And Sleepwell was the first to introduce modern mattresses to let's say a vast majority of the Indian consumers. Mm-hmm. And I think, but this age in which we are, this time phase, I think the fact that there is a lot of information available and there's democratization of information, as I say it, and I think the dividend that it has reaped for this category is huge. Mm-hmm. And what I'm trying to say is basically that the consumers are far more informed, and sleep is a priority. Probably a lot of people now understand
the importance of it. It's like an awakening.
Absolutely. So it's almost, it is almost like that, akin to a movement. Mm-hmm. And I think as a brand, it's important that you understand what that really means. What is that insight that you can use to craft that story.
Right.
And I think if I look at particularly Sleepwell and how we've gone about doing it for our campaigns, is basically at a certain level you're looking at personalized comfort. So you start looking at sleep in a different way, because of course it ladders to health slightly slowly. Mm-hmm. But first of all, it is all about my comfort, my space, my zone. So this personalization is a big insight that we latch on to. Like, how do you offer personalized comfort, right? How do you offer something which you feel is tailored to me, right? And that really helps you kind of sleep better. That helps you, understand that, okay, this is a safe space. This is where I want to be. So we've been latching on to that in a few of our campaigns. We look at personalized comfort as a gateway to talk to the consumer. And, a recent campaign we did, we kind of equated that with the human insight of a let's say a touch of a loved one. Right. So there's a
the nice comfort that comes from
so
that.
The comfort that comes, and there's this one line in that film which says that ye tumhare haathon jaisa hai, na zyada sakt na zyada narm. So basically we're trying to say that it is something which is just right for you, in terms of people go out search for variety of things, but rarely come across a mattress which they feel is fit for them.
Right.
And I think we're trying to solve for that by giving them the right choice which is suited for that need. So I think that's one big insight. And the second one is lifestyle changes are causing problems. People, 8 out of 10 people who walk into our stores actually say that I'm suffering from this back pain, or I'm getting that niggle in my back, right, and like this twitch or something that you can help.
Some discomfort of some kind.
Exactly. So that's where we step in, and we try and then look at how, let's say a sleep solution, a mattress can be customized for that need. And that's a big growing segment, for India. So I think that's the other place where we build our campaigns and start talking about, that need. And consumers do come and speak to us. The shoppers do come and speak to us, about that.
As I was saying, this awakening, this consciousness about, how important sleep is, could be more of an urban phenomenon. Sleepwell being the market leader, how are you looking at balancing both the premiumization aspect of your growth as well as penetration? Get into your strategies on both these fronts.
Sure. So I think it's an absolute core question and a core principle that we follow as a market leader, because while premiumization has its place, and that's rapidly happening, and at an equally important and similar pace as what is happening is penetration. So penetration of modern mattresses in India is extremely low. So less than 1 in 4, or less than 1 in 5. So that kind of numbers exist in terms of how many households have that have graduated. So what we definitely look at is how we drive penetration is through a mix of marketing agenda, which starts on the product. Of course, there is pricing, and then there is, of course, a little bit of customization of both to meet that need, right? And what we've realized when we meet these consumers, the insight that we gather is that they actually feel that it's actually an inflection point in a household when they switch over from cotton mattress to a modern mattress. And I think that emotion of being the harbinger of change, that emotion of a slight upgrade in lifestyle is interesting to watch. And that's probably where as a brand we wanted to make sure we play. So innovation plays a big role there. So just customizing a product range which meets those needs, which is at the right price point.
Right.
And that is fueled through, because with Sleepwell being the leader there, we have an in-house R&D, in-house foam manufacturing. So we can leverage a lot at the back end to ensure that we get the right offering in front of the consumer, which helps drive the penetration. So that's the mix we do, and the insight is all about, as I said, that little bit of emotion on getting that stage of life, lifestyle moving in the household. So that's really good. Just sharing that we see a lot of that happening. Just like parents are looking at the best education and the best food for their kids. This is also a phenomena we see, that you see a lot of this happening as a new mattress that's coming into the household just for the kids, because now they want to make sure they sleep well. They want to make sure they are gearing up for their academic rigor, etc. So so it's interesting to see how a mattress can play a role in the household when we are driving penetration.
It could possibly be the easiest productivity hack. Just sleeping well, get a good mattress. But let me shift tracks a little bit, and double down on certain aspects of marketing, especially when it comes to your media mix.
Yeah.
We were speaking earlier about, the absolute rise in our digital native selves, the amount of consumption that's happening online on mobile devices. Right. How have these media shifts impacted, of course, your media mix and your strategy, say over the past 2 years?
So I think there is definitely, so when we look at the shift that has happened in terms of social media content, there has been an explosion. If I talk about our category, my brand, so there has definitely been an explosion of the content on social media, whether that's influencer driven or brand driven, both ways. And I think that's a change. The marketplace is another hotbed of let's say all kind of media and marketing spends, right? So whether that's display driven or sales driven. So I think that's the other bit. And thirdly, which could be unique to our category, is that we've seen a lot of searches going up. So if you look at search volumes, if you look at people being interested to know more about either mattresses or mattress brands or sleep, has significantly gone up in the last 2 years. So that also shapes a lot of how we spend, so that we are there when that search is happening, when that information seeking, that research is happening. You need to make sure that you're arming them with the right information. So I think a lot of content gets produced which is just on the education. Just as a market leader, we need to ensure that people have a lot of education around how to choose the right mattress, how to from basics of how to choose to what is right for me, and if there's any specific problem, addressing it. So content explosion is the other shift that has happened in the last 2 years, I would say. Influencer marketing, for sure. I mean, that's space, as I was saying, where we've definitely increased our spends. I think we're trying to approach it, learn and experiment a bit as well, because for the category, what's the model that works. So at Sleepwell, what we're trying to do is that we are engaging a lot more with the influencers in terms of trying to build some sort of relationship to be slightly more long term than very transactional.
True.
So I think that's the journey we're on, and I think it's not an overnight switch, because a certain way that the economy is the creator economy is functioning. But I think that is, even if I look forward, and that's going to be a big shift. And we are well and truly on path of that, so that we are able to have something more meaningful and more sustainable and more long term, even when it comes to influencer content.
But if you were to sort of distill it down to some of your top 3 marketing media trends to watch for in 2026, as a CMO, what do you have your eye on?
Sure. So I think, as you rightly said, while we know the 2 letters which are disrupting everything, but I think the integration of that in terms of across the chain, right? So whether that's creation of content and how well can that be driven by AI. Like there is a lot of services-led stuff that we are still seeing that AI has dominated into. But I have my eye on the content creation part, and I think that's where a lot of, let's say, acceleration of content can happen. And I think that's the role I'm very interested and curious to see how that shapes up. I think, again, as a marketer, I would love to, see how social commerce shapes up in India.
Absolutely.
So I think that's something which, we've been through all this influencers in the creator journey, and that's something, it's almost ripe, and we need to see how that evolves. But just looking forward, I think that will be a very interesting
social commerce
thing and trend to see. So on how do brands participate, how quickly they leverage it, I think will be interesting, particularly when when the social channels start to become search friendly, which is something which is has started, is in the wings. So that is going to make this whole thing even more interesting.
Absolutely.
So I think that's definitely one. And I think thirdly, if I look at as a marketer, I do think there will be a comeback of long form vernacular content. Personally, do feel that there is a trust deficit that's happening in our ecosystem around us. So I think, and trust is a long-term outcome. So it's not a switch. And so brands which are already trusted will have a lot to do in that space. And I think a lot of new brands, they've already started. You hear people say that we want to build our own ecosystems, we want to build, and I think that is all leading to that aspect of how do you be a trusted brand, because I think that's going to be in this trust deficit ecosystem, that's going to be a big differentiator, and I would love to see how that translates into content. And I do see a trend of that coming.
A return to long form.
It's come back in certain way. Not it's never going to be a either or situation.
Absolutely,
in marketing, but definitely. Something which I see, should make a comeback.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Puneet. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and hopefully everyone sleeps well.
No, absolutely. India should sleep well, and thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Now on the show, we bring you a global perspective on innovation, design, and the future of work. Logitech's global CEO, Hanneke Faber, speaks to me about the company's product vision, its India opportunity, and how consumer tech is being reimagined for a hybrid world. A conversation with one of the most influential leaders in the industry. You've spoken about expanding Logitech beyond peripherals into new verticals like education and healthcare, and embedding AI across products. What are the core strategic pillars driving this shift for you? And my second part of that question is how does India fit into your 2-3 year growth and innovation roadmap?
Thanks for having me, and great questions. When you look at the segments of people and businesses we serve, there's the consumer on the one hand, but there's also businesses, and that for us is a big opportunity. For-profit businesses, but also governments, educational institutions, healthcare institutions. We still have a lot of opportunities for growth. That's true around the world, but that's definitely also true in India. And I would say India plays a dual role for us. On the one side, India is a really important global innovation center for us. All our software and AI work happens here in Chennai, and we have more than 500 software and AI engineers in Chennai. That's by far our biggest center for software and AI. So the world for Logitech very much depend on our Indian talent. Second role that India plays, of course, is as a business. And there's still a ton of opportunity for growth that we have in India. Obviously a very big country with a lot of people, but also a country with a lot of advanced tech users. And if you take a product like our MX line, that's made for software engineers and financial analysts and designers, of which there are very, very many in India. In fact, there are 7 million software engineers in India. That's more than most countries in Europe, for example, have people. So a big opportunity. And then some of the global trends that are driving our business are true in India as well. Hybrid work is one of them. More and more people working both from the office and from home, and in other places, in hotels, in bars, in planes, in trains. All of that is a driver for our business because you need your peripherals everywhere, and you need to be great in terms of video conferencing availability. AI, obviously a global trend, and then the growth of gaming, which is for our business around the world a really great tailwind, and that's true for India as well.
And I've spoken to several global CEOs who always sort of see India as they see the next decade as India's decade. So from a tech perspective, where do you stand?
Yeah, definitely the next decade should be India's decade, and that's true at Logitech as well. So we see opportunities in India across our business. If I started from video conferencing and the entire Logitech for Business space, we think less than 10% of conference rooms in India are actually video conference enabled, and that's way too low because everyone is working from everywhere. You want to connect with people across the country, from Chennai to Delhi or to Mumbai, and with people internationally. And having strong video conferencing connections and links is really important. So a ton of upside there for us. Then there is what we call personal workspace, where especially our MX line, again, designed for software engineers, for coders, to be more productive, to be faster when you're doing your work. Still a ton of upside there. And finally, gaming. Gaming is actually relatively small in India compared to the number of people in the country. What we see around the world is that gaming penetration is growing really fast. For example, in the US, there are 30 million Americans who game more than 40 hours a week. And gaming is mainstreaming. It's going to be in the Olympics in 2026-8. So gaming is a big trend, and I'm sure that's bound to come to India as well. And if you want to win that game, think of Logitech and our gaming mice, gaming keyboards, gaming headsets as kind of the Adidas or the Nike. What Adidas and Nike are to running, we are to gaming and winning that game. You really need our peripherals to perform at your very best.
Coming from Unilever and P&G, what lessons, whether it's leadership lessons or anything in strategy, have you carried into your role at Logitech, and how are you building that in a historically hardware-led organization?
Yeah, what a great question. I came here 2 years ago to Logitech, and before that I was with Unilever. So spent a lot of time with HUL as well, which is just a wonderful organization, and learned a lot. So I would say the key thing coming into this business that I learned from consumer is actually being close to the consumer and the customer, making sure you really understand what drives him or her. So for example, here in India, what we've been doing is more in-home visits, really seeing how people work, how they use our products. And what you find out is, people in India don't always have a lot of space in their homes. A lot of people like working from their beds. So then we adjust our products to the space they have here. Another example, being close to our customers. I had the pleasure yesterday of visiting Blinkit, which is a fabulous quick commerce customer for us, and just such an impressive organization. And hearing from them and hearing what they need from us to have a successful partnership was incredibly helpful. I think that closeness to the consumer and the customer, that really comes from FMCG. Our collaborations with pro gaming teams, for example, come in. That is pop culture today. or a collaboration with a brand like McLaren. We just launched a McLaren gaming simulation collection. There's few brands hotter than McLaren today. So being in pop culture is a big third angle of building this brand.
While we're excited about AI and the advent of AI, but there's a lot of anxiety. We're seeing the impact of it already in the number of layoffs we've seen in the tech space, whether it's big tech or any other part of the industry. As a leader, what is the message you are sending out to your employees, to future employees about the skills that will be required, or what will be the need of the hour as we get into, we are in the AI age, but what are some of the concerns and challenges for you as a leader addressing people?
Great question. So I think overall, my philosophy at Logitech is that we have so much opportunity for more growth, and we never were able to have enough people to take advantage of all the growth opportunities. So AI is a real help because with the same number of people, we can grow faster. And that's how we're using AI. Rather than saying, let me just slash and burn and fire a bunch of people, with about the same number of people, we should be able to accelerate our growth from kind of mid-single digits in the past to high single digits, or maybe even more in the future. So that's how we use AI. And then what does that mean on a daily basis? My philosophy is take a lot of at-bats, to use a baseball analogy. So that's why we created, and guess again, internally more than 1,000 agents since January to try to see where can we do more with the same number of people. And of the 1,000 agents, you know what? Some of them will be absolutely garbage and they won't do anything. Some of them will be really transformational, but most of them are delivering incremental benefits across the business. But when you have hundreds of agents that are delivering incremental benefits all together, that is a real help to grow faster with the people that we have.
Absolutely. So far more hopeful and optimistic about everything. Well, thank you for joining me today, Hanneke. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and hopefully we'll catch up again in person next time.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.